Jayson Tatum, after the Celtics won game one during a post-game press conference, admitted that he was nervous before the game started. And I believe he admitted that he didn't shoot the ball well in this game, but that response got a lot of vitriol on social media with a lot of people just being angry at him, hating on him, and just calling him a bum and all these other things. Which made me want to ask the question is, why is Jayson Tatum hated so much? It just seems to me that Tatum gets a lot of hate on social media these days, even before the finals. I wonder, is it because of what happened 2 years ago against the Warriors, which I felt he deserved a lot of criticism during that series for shooting just poorly. He was god awful in that series. But outside of that, I don't get the intense hatred. I'll say this because I feel a player usually gets hatred for a few reasons. I'm just going to list my reasons. Number one, the reason could be that a player is supremely arrogant and it goes beyond just being confident to the point of just being a straight up douchebag, just insufferable piece of shit. I put Draymond Green in that category. He owns that category. The number two thing that can make a player hateable, I'm just talking about the NBA, that is, that the player can be really dirty, extremely dirty, just does a lot of dirty, malicious things. I put Draymond Green also in that category. He owns that. But so far, when it comes to arrogance and dirty play, Tatum doesn't even get to enter those categories in my eyes. He's neither of that. The third thing I think that can make a player very hateable is just media hype, just getting overrated by the media and not living up to those expectations. Maybe you could put Tatum in that category in the sense that he hasn't lived up to the expectations the last few years by choking the Warriors series and just even underachieving during these current playoffs. He's not shooting well at all. I guess you can make the argument that he gets a hatred in that sense, not living up to expectations. But I don't feel like the media is trying to shove him down our throats. Like, they're not even overhyping him during these playoffs in any way. Just he's not been even mentioned in the face of the league argument. You saw how the media was just immediately slurping Anthony Edwards when he was doing well during the playoffs, that this guy's the next Jordan, he's going to carry the league, blah, 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 blah. But they never mentioned Tatum in that argument, just not at all. He wasn't even mentioned that. So I would say that even when it comes up to the living to expectations card, you can't really hate on him because most of the media's expectations for him are low these days. They don't expect him to be great based off what happened 2 years ago. So that one I throw out the window. The fourth one I'm gonna say is just being a media whore, being a slurper to some degree, or the media slurping you, just taking up all the oxygen in the room and trying to direct the attention on you. I feel this is a category that LeBron James owns. Just he's always obsessed with getting attention from the media. He wants that limelight. He wants that attention at all times, even when he's not playing. He tries to seek to get that attention. Just being a straight up media whore. I feel LeBron is that guy, but I don't feel Tatum is that guy at all. So in all four of these categories, whether it comes to being arrogant, dirty, the expectation card, being a media whore, Tatum doesn't check any of these boxes off, just none of them. I think if anything, he's been honest about himself, especially during these playoffs. He's not tooted his horn saying he's the best player in the league or say anything crazy like that. Just in some ways, I actually do respect him being honest that he didn't play so well in game one, which leads me to believe is, why are people so upset at him? I can only think of, like I said, the expectation card. He's not living up to expectations of being a truly great player when you look at his potential. So I guess that could be getting the hatred. I think maybe it's from other fan bases that if the Celtics win this title, there's some fear that he gets overrated, that suddenly there'll be some people hyping him up as the best player in the league. But I don't think he's going to even get that hype if the Celtics win the title, just because he hasn't dominated the playoffs to be worthy of the title, to be called the best player in the league. Usually, if you win a title, I would say that to also be considered the best player in the league, you have to dominate. Kind of like how you saw Shaq dominate during the early 2000s, Tim Duncan dominate during the Spurs title runs. Just Michael Jordan during the 90s, that just you have to dominate during these playoff runs to be considered the best in the league. You look at Jokic last year dominating during his run. And then a few years ago, Giannis dominating during his title run. Just I feel that it coincides with winning a title, but also dominating. And Tatum hasn't done that, so I don't see how anybody would say annoyed him as the best player in the league. That's why I find this Tatum hate very comical. To me, it's very laughable. I just don't think he's done anything to really, really deserve the vitriol he's getting these days. And you also look at the other thing that can generate hate, I would say, is just your off-court activities. But Tatum has like a squeaky clean record off the court. He has no history of getting in trouble with the law or doing something outrageously wrong, just or immorally wrong. I don't see any of that. Just there's not really anything bad you could say about him off the court. That's the way I look at it. But I do find it interesting.